Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel, your trusted source for in-depth political commentary, analysis, and updates from across Mzansi. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get into today's story, one that could fundamentally reshape South Africa's constitutional landscape. In a landmark move that could change the course of South Africa's democracy, President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced that work is underway to make the country's judiciary fully independent, not just in theory, but in practice. This means the courts will no longer be financially or administratively tied to the government, a significant step towards entrenching true separation of powers. This announcement came during a speech Ramaphosa delivered at the Constitutional Court's 30th anniversary celebration, a symbolic setting for such a historic proclamation. And it couldn't have come at a more crucial time, as concerns around the integrity and autonomy of public institutions continue to dominate political discourse in South Africa. So, what's the issue here? Why is this such a big deal? Well, technically, the judiciary in South Africa is already independent. It functions as one of the three arms of the state, alongside the executive and the legislature. But here's the catch: unlike Parliament and the President's office, the judiciary has always relied on the Department of Justice for administrative matters, including the appointment of staff, management of finances, and even approval of basic operational issues. Think about that for a moment. For a branch of the state that is supposed to check and balance the other two, it's been strangely dependent on one of them for its resources and functionality. This structural dependency has long raised eyebrows within legal and political circles. And recently, it was formally brought to the President's attention during a meeting with members of the judiciary, led by the newly appointed Chief Justice Mandisa Meyer, the first woman to hold the position in South African history. A major moment, not only for gender equality, but also for institutional reform. Chief Justice Meyer and her colleagues reportedly expressed concern about the judiciary's limited control over its own operations. In particular, they flagged the troubling reality that their budget and staffing decisions require sign-off from the Minister of Justice, a member of the executive arm they are supposed to be independent from. This, in many ways, undermines the judiciary's ability to fully deliver on its constitutional mandate without undue influence. Responding to these concerns, Ramaphosa confirmed that a joint committee has already been set up to work on the legal and administrative changes required to finally give the judiciary full independence. In his speech, Ramaphosa called this dependence an anomaly of our constitutional architecture and admitted it's been an unfair arrangement that has persisted for far too long. He said, and I quote, "It has been an anomaly that we've had Parliament as an independent institution, the executive fully recognized, but the judiciary has on an unfair basis had to depend on government on a variety of matters, from getting approval on the appointment of people, and not even being in complete control of their own budget." He went on to say, "This comes to an end now. The judiciary will be independent. We will ensure the judiciary is rightly constituted as an equal branch of the state, at the same level as the executive and the legislature." But how will this actually work in practice? According to Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya, this new model will allow the judiciary to take full control of its administrative functions. This means that things like court budgets, staff appointments, and general governance will no longer require oversight or approval from the Department of Justice. Instead, the judiciary will receive its budget directly from National Treasury, giving it financial autonomy, just like Parliament does. Now, this may sound like a technical adjustment, but make no mistake, it's a seismic shift in how power is distributed in the country. It's about giving the judiciary the tools it needs to remain neutral, impartial, and resilient, especially in a democracy where the courts are often called upon to mediate complex disputes between political factions, government institutions, and even private citizens. Let's not forget, the South African judiciary has played a critical role in upholding the rule of law, particularly in the post-apartheid era. From holding presidents accountable, remember the infamous Nkandla judgment against former President Jacob Zuma, to ruling on critical matters of constitutional interpretation, land reform, and human rights, the courts have been a bulwark of democracy. But the irony has always been that this powerful institution, often tasked with protecting the Constitution, has lacked the operational freedom that its counterparts enjoy. By correcting this imbalance, the government is finally putting action behind the principle of separation of powers. It's also a move that aligns South Africa more closely with other mature democracies where judicial independence is not just symbolic, but structurally protected. And let's be real, this change couldn't come at a better time. Public confidence in institutions is under pressure. South Africans are increasingly skeptical of political interference, state capture hangovers, and general corruption across different arms of government. Strengthening judicial independence is one way to restore public trust and bolster constitutional democracy. It also opens the door to broader conversations about institutional reform in the country. If we're rethinking how the judiciary is funded and managed, should we also re-examine how other oversight bodies, like the Public Protector's Office or Chapter 9 institutions, are structured? Should their funding also be more insulated from executive control? These are the kinds of questions we'll need to ask as we move into this new era of governance. But before we wrap things up, it's worth noting that while this announcement has been welcomed by many in the legal and academic communities, implementation will be key. Setting up new systems, reallocating budgets, redefining lines of authority, these are not overnight changes. There's likely to be pushback, bureaucratic inertia, and plenty of legislative fine print to work through. Still, what matters is the direction of travel. And right now, that direction is promising. It suggests that, despite all the challenges facing the country, South Africa's democracy is still evolving and, crucially, improving. So, what do you think? Is this the beginning of a stronger, more independent judiciary in South Africa? Or is it simply window dressing without meaningful change? Should other arms of the state undergo similar reforms? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more in-depth political coverage and analysis. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay safe. See you next time.